Standing, please, for two verses. Echo forth his glory, and famous is the story that does proclaim. Then hip 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 hurrah, hip 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 hurrah, hip 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 hurrah. The school's immortal fame, our predecessors wrought. Great deeds that will not perish, and finally are got nothing. Hip 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 hurrah, hip 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 hurrah, hip 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 hurrah, to her almighty dead. Thank you, Ford Street. Now it's very
wartime leader of England went back to his school, which was Eton, at one stage to deliver an address the same as what I'm doing, and the address went this way: never, ever give up. And then he sat down. That was it. I'm going to, in fact, be a little bit longer than Winston Churchill this morning, but nonetheless, there we go in terms of revisiting your original school. I'm standing here 37 years later, as I am with Wiki, because we delivered a farewell speech in 1978 before we went off to do the HSC. So it's a little bit of a blast for she and I to stand here all these years later and to look around this room. There's a lot of memories within the Memorial Hall here, some of which I would not be allowed to tell you about because I could get into serious trouble if I did. But nonetheless, there were many good memories here. Also, so the fact that we still do Gaudy Armas to, in fact, have a processional coming in. And I've got to say, sir, you are so much like Edgar Wilson, our music master. It's absolutely scary to come back here and sort of say that.
He composed the school song.
Almost a complicated thing happening there, which is quite interesting. At the moment, there's about 40 of my fellow students here this morning. That number will increase to about 70, 75 this evening when we meet to go over a range of things. Around the years, I would suggest that in terms of the student body here, the oldest ones of you, is anybody 18 here? If you're 18, put your hand up. Phil, you're not. Right, I thought that would be the case because the HSC students aren't here. So the reality is that these people in front of you are at least three times older than us. The ladies are really looking at me, so say, why did you say? I would suggest that from when we were here and where we are now, we've lived through the greatest period of change probably in humanity. The whole concept of technology, of societal values have changed enormously. The fact that we acknowledge the Aboriginal owners of this land is one of those realities that have seen us move over that period of time. The other reality is that amongst this group that's here, and a wider number, is we created some extraordinarily strong friendships out of our time at this school. And they still exist 37 years later. It's made, in fact, creating a reunion a whole lot easier because of people's ongoing networks based upon strong friendships made at the school. And it's something that I would really encourage you amongst those aspects of your formal learning. It's also the non-formal learnings, the life skills that you gain at school, which become extraordinarily important the older that you become. When we were here in 1978, we had a fairly interesting pedigree that had gone before us. The simple fact was, at that time, 1978, the Governor-General of Australia was an ex-40. The Premier of New South Wales was an ex-40. The Minister for Education, ex-40. The Chief Justice of Australia, 40th. Chief Justice of New South Wales, 40th. Governor of the Reserve Bank, 40th. Chancellor of Sydney University, 40th. I did have the opportunity to meet Sir John Kerr, and he made an interesting sort of comment to me at the time. He said, the only thing we don't have at the moment is the Lodge. And that's the Prime Minister's residence in Canberra. So we had everything. Now, that for me is a very important sort of, it's an interesting reality of those that have been here before, gone before you, and certainly in our time we had some pretty extraordinary Australians, including John Singleton, the great the advertising guru as well. He's the next point. When I reflect on the last, on my year since leaving here, there were three things that really sort of stick in my mind, which were the great benefits of the opportunity to be educated at this school. The simple fact is, for every one of you that are here, and for those who are going to sit the HSC next week, you have an extraordinary privilege of going to Australia's oldest school. As you know, 1849 is on a lot of your crests on your uniform. It was the modern school upon which the education system in New South Wales was in fact created and then developed. So I want to sort of say that there's a beneficial legacy that you will have when you're as old as what I am and as old as what Wiki is, because you actually have been at the school. All right? Sorry, we're going to embarrass you. All right? As an alumni of this school, there is extraordinary value that you will have because you spent 6 years at Fort Street High School. The other reality is that in life, you're going to find that you're going to have two, I think, well, I consider absolutes that are going to be part of your future journey. One is you will get to make choices, and you will make life choices about where you go. Probably the greatest one out of here is where you might well go in terms of tertiary education, what you see as a career. Equally, in life, circumstances will make choices for you. And it's your capacity to be able to both consider appropriately and astutely choices that you make for yourself, and also your ability to have to deal with circumstances to make choices for you which you would not make of your own accord. There are skill sets, again, that you will pick up here, some of them very clear to you, others more subtle, which as you go into adulthood are going to make a big difference. And again, it's a privilege that you're at this school because I would say seeded within its DNA is a lot of those very subtle sort of things that you're going to find highly beneficial when you go into adulthood. And then the final thing too is, and it goes to a little bit about the whole concept of going to school. For me, there's three aspects to life. If you wanted to chunk life out into thirds, the first third of your life is about gaining knowledge. That's what you're at school to do. Whatever subject choices you've made, you're gaining knowledge around that particular subject matter. So you can sit exams, so you can get good results, so you can make some of those choices that I just mentioned. The third of your life will be about knowledge. When you develop and you're fully into adulthood, your knowledge diminishes, but your understanding of that knowledge, of what you've come to comprehend, will in fact will develop. You'll gain a greater degree of comprehension of what you know, and then you're going to be able to apply it. So the foundation, which is important, is in fact knowledge. You get understanding, and then, frankly, I will embarrass my peers again here, when you get to our age, knowledge and understanding becomes wisdom. Age gives you aspects of wisdom and insight and, into life's issues. So that's in fact the journey that you've got in front of you in terms of the way that my journey has gone. Knowledge, understanding, wisdom is what's in front of me. I remember when I had the opportunity to be the editor of this document in 1977, it was for Fortune magazine. There's a number of people here who participated in that magazine. And I wrote at the time, apart from making a quote around the school motto, every person's the maker of their own fortune, was this comment. School days are precious, and as students, we owe it to ourselves to strive for goals that as individuals only we can achieve. To realise this now is so important if we are to be successful in life. And so I would encourage all of you to in fact be the makers of your own fortune and to enjoy your time here at Fort Street. And certainly on behalf of all of my peers from that time, we're looking forward to doing it. One other thing too is, if whilst we're going to spend a couple of hours hanging around the school, if you actually want to come into one of these oldies and sort of say, what was it really like and what did you really get up to when you were in school? All of these people will happily speak with you.
No mobile phones. No mobile phones. It wasn't recorded.
Thanks very much.